Welcome to Showcase of Nonprofits, where my guests are involved in serving our community. This show is designed to help you, the viewer, to view the resources that you, your friends, your family, or anyone you know might be able to use. At the end of the show, there will be a page where you can write down the website, the phone number, and the contact information you might need if you would like to get a hold of this resource. So today we are going to talk about Ride Connection. And my guest is B. Davis, who is the coordinator, who is the communications outreach specialist for Ride Connection.
Yes, that's correct.
And B, can you tell us about the history, how Ride Connection started out?
Yes, so Ride Connection has been around for more than 30 years, starting out as a volunteer program for older adults and those with disabilities. And today, that's the group we still work with, and a great deal of our drivers still are volunteers.
Great, great. Okay, so that you have a visual, now we were going to show a clip from Ride Connection provided by them, so you can actually see this in action. Then we'll come back and we'll talk and ask B some questions.
Imagine all the places you go in a day. What if you didn't have a way to get there? Because of Ride Connection, thousands of people every year are able to get where they need to go to keep them healthy, independent, and connected to their community. Ride Connection gets people where they need to go. Last year, volunteers gave 53,000 hours of their time. Ride Connection links accessible, responsive transportation alternative with individual and community needs. Ride Connection's vision is to create independence and community connection through travel options. Imagine your life without transportation. Without the ability to get where you need to go, who would you turn to for help?
Ride Connection is a transportation organization that helps older people and people with disabilities get where they need to go.
Sometimes it's just giving them some maps, sometimes it's actually going out on the bus with people to really get them acclimated to be on public transit independently.
I always go with the model of how to keep people the most independent, because I think that independence keeps people healthy and it keeps people happy, and so that's my biggest goal is independence.
If you can do it, why not?
My favorite part of my job is everything. I really like talking to people, and for 15 to 30 minutes I get a whole window of their life.
Our clientele is fantastic. I've learned so much over the years from them.
All of our customers are just so grateful and so kind, and it's just a blessing to work with them.
Everyone's different. Everyone's ability is different. Everyone's desires are different, and it's always nice to be able to get out in your community, to immerse yourself. It can be scary, but once you do it, there's just a sense of accomplishment that so many people say they receive afterwards.
Besides the fact that we have a staff of incredibly talented and helpful people, we also provide, I think, the best service that they can get, getting to and from where they need to go. I'm incredibly honored to be able to work for Ride Connection and for our clientele.
There's a lot to us. We're like an onion, but in a good way.
There are so many things I appreciate today, but also take for granted as though they have always been in place. In the 1980s, I was neither elderly nor disabled, and was running endlessly through the days to keep up with 6 children, trying to earn a living as a single mom to take care of them. All the activities fueling your beginning were totally unknown to me. But how very grateful I am that it was a priority for these thoughtful, hardworking, dedicated people and organizations whose insight at that time and through the years has turned a beautiful dream into reality. What a blessing for those of us who are now elderly and disabled. Bravo, and thank you, Right Connection, and happy anniversary.
Well, and thank you, Bea, for bringing that to us, and thank you, Ellery, for showing us that. So now you have a visual on that. So now I'm going to ask Bea more questions about the organization and how it works. So if someone wants to sign up for Ride Connection, how would they do that?
Yeah, so the first time a customer will connect with our service center at 226-0700, and after you speak with the travel options counselor, they'll take all the necessary information and you're all set up in our system. Some of those important details can be if you use a mobility device, if you're going to have a companion rider, those sorts of things. And then from there, you can begin making requests.
Okay. Do they give you any other details, like who's picking you up or what time or anything?
Exactly. So who's going to pick you up if it happens to not be a Ride Connection driver? Instead, it's another provider, cab provider. They'll let you know that information, pickup time from your starting address, as well as a pickup time for your return.
Okay. All right. And so anyway, they use some of your vehicles, and I think they say Ride Connection right on the vehicle, so you don't go getting in the wrong vehicle, or else it might be a radio cab or another cab company.
Exactly.
So, okay, good. Are there qualifications for the riders? I think they mentioned in the video something about elderly and disabled. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, so we work with people, older adults who are 60 years or older, and or folks that identify with a disability.
Okay, good, good. Now for the drivers, I think that would be very important that you had qualifications for your drivers.
Yes. We do have driving requirements and background checks for all of our drivers, both paid and volunteer. We provide all the necessary training, which does include being able to drive one of our 14 passenger vans.
Wow, wow, okay. Well, and I imagine patience
Yes.
and kindness and, waiting for people to get on that maybe take longer to get in and out of the vehicle.
Yes, you do need to be able to work with a vulnerable population. It does take special folks to do that sort of work, and our drivers are just wonderful. They always have great things.
Okay, now is this service free or is there a fee?
All of our services are provided at no charge to our customers. Donations gladly accepted.
Okay, well that's good to know. If any of you are on a real limited budget, this is a service that is convenient, helpful, but then also saves you a bit of money. Okay. What hours and days are these rides available?
Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5 p.m. is the range we primarily work with.
Okay. So in other words, if a person they would need to set it up so maybe their return trip was 4:30 or something like that, so that they're back, so the driver's done with the shift.
Yeah, they're going to get a better option for getting a driver if you're kind of stay within those realms, but we don't limit it to that.
Okay, and then what about weekends and holidays?
We're closed on federal holidays, and most of our services are going to be only Monday through Friday.
Okay. Now, are these rides always guaranteed? I mean, we know they're not on weekends, but Monday through Friday, is it a guaranteed thing?
Rides are not guaranteed. So what we do is we ask that you make a request a minimum of 4 days in advance. It certainly can be more. And then 2 days prior, someone from our service center will give you a call and let the customer know if the ride can be provided and any other details like who's picking you up, time, all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, and I think I just recently heard of somebody that does a certain thing regularly, like once a month.
Yes.
So they were actually able to schedule for a couple months, and that helped them to remember to do that too, if it's something that they were going to once a month, twice a month.
Right, some ongoing appointments, definitely. You could, like, you have that 4 days, but it certainly can be more. If you know that you're going to have that ongoing appointment, go ahead and make that request when you're on the phone with someone in the service center.
Now, do they need the exact address they're going to, or can they just say, well, I want to go to the senior center, I want to go to the Gresham Library, or do they need a real address that they're going to?
So the examples that you gave, those are pretty simple. If you say Gresham Library, there's just one.
Okay.
If you say you want to go to the Fred Meyer downtown, like, we need a little bit more information.
Okay.
But for the most part, we have a lot of, like, Gresham Senior Center is a trip that we do very often. So our service center is going to know what you're talking about. But if you're a little vague, we do ask for a exact address.
Okay.
Be kind to our service center people.
Right. And also their exact address, or where you're going to pick them up.
Yes.
You know, like some places, maybe some apartments, you can't drive right to the apartment. And I understand your drivers are willing to go get them, but sometimes they could also say meet them at the office.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Okay, and how are you funded?
Oh, so like I said before, we're a nonprofit. We are funded through grants, through fundraising, funding from TriMet, federal funding. We do fundraisers, a little of this, a little of that.
Okay, good. I'm curious about this, but I don't know if it's an appropriate question. Who donates or gives grants sometimes for your organization?
So folks that donate, certainly our customers do donate. You don't need to, but they do. We work with local agencies, partner with them often. We've done fundraisers in the past, which is our development department. Actually, our past couple fundraisers have been virtual for obvious reasons. So we had to shift to, still letting the community know that we're around, but trying to, work with what we have. So
okay, and sometimes some stores I think have even donated, or
organizations.
Yes.
Yeah, we've worked with Regency, we've worked with Fred Meyer, all sorts of folks, partnering up in order to get the message out and their services.
Right, because some of these organizations actually benefit from you getting people to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Are there ride connections in other cities?
So we are one of a kind. Though we do work Portland Metro, so Multnomah, Clackamas, and Washington counties. And then we've somewhat recently expanded out in Washington County, where we have what is known as the Saturday Cornelius Loop. So that is one of the services that is beyond that Monday through Friday.
Now, a lot of people might not be familiar with Cornelius Loop. I just know Cornelius is away from Gresham.
It's far. So it's that outer edge of Washington County. We're really just trying to get, those rural areas as well. People still need transportation and, access to it. So it's a way, going to work, going to those grocery stores, all these essential trips that so for some folks it doesn't matter and you don't have to worry about it. And some folks it's a great option.
Okay. Well, like you just said, transportation is so essential. Can you share the heart that Ride Connection has for people that say don't have transportation?
Right. I mean, as I was saying, it's like transportation is an important element of everyone's life. And most of us don't have to think about it, or a lot of us don't have to think about it, but the loss of transportation poses a problem for many older adults, as well as some people with disabilities, because disabilities can come on, as you get older, and it's not necessarily something that you'll have your whole life. So no transportation means difficulty getting to necessary appointments, to the grocery store and participating in social activities as well. Like that's also very important.
Okay, so if, say, a person wanted to go to an event at the senior center, or the grandparent wanted to go to the school program, during the day.
Yes.
These would be options for
Definitely.
them. Okay. Now, during COVID, though, and we're still possibly in that area of time, has that diminished any of your services?
It definitely has. We slowed down service a lot past, I guess, year and a half. And then especially with those community shuttles on the 14 passenger vans, we are not filling them to capacity. Okay. That's just obviously not safe.
Okay.
Other things like that, we just go with CDC mandates and all of those sort of things. Still providing service, essential trips as best as possible. But
So things like to the doctor,
Yes.
dentist,
Yeah.
grocery store, bank, maybe the bank.
that is definitely essential. Like, some people have to do these things.
Well, the other thing that it just occurred to me that people in these rural areas, even if they could take the bus and they have a disability, getting to the bus stop.
Yes.
I've noticed that some of the bus stops are getting farther apart.
Yeah, and they're maybe too far for a person to, because of mobility issues or
Right,
what have
exactly.
you, to get to them, or sidewalks, so maybe it's just not safe to
Oh,
walk that
that's true.
distance.
That's true. Or if they have a walker.
Yeah, there's so many things that
Right.
can affect getting to, like, maybe how to get on. Once you get on the bus, maybe
Right.
you're fine, but
Right.
getting to it. So, like, that's why we do the rural service, and that is available. The general service out in Hillsborough is exactly that, getting people into more urban areas, so that they maybe can take public transit, or just in general have a better time navigating, or easier
and the
time.
safety from not falling too.
Yes.
Especially when the weather gets inclement. A senior with a walker or a cane or anything, or just not watching. Sometimes people forget how they get older and think they're going to run to the bus stop or something. I have a neighbor that just injured a hand.
Oh, no.
Because he was hurrying to the bus stop, and he wasn't that old, but he still was used to, I can do what I want with my body.
Yes.
And now maybe later I can't do everything I want to do with my body.
It'll go on you quickly, and so you got to be. It's nice to be prepared or have some sort of option set up.
Okay. Now you mentioned travel training. That I don't know anything about. Tell me what travel training is.
So we provide travel training. That is through our RideWise program. The program is designed to provide mobility training, ranging from one-on-one support, training, trip assistance, so maybe looking at maps, what have you, to prepare a person for taking public transit.
Oh, good.
So maybe I know you take public transportation,
Right.
but what if you didn't know how? So
Exactly.
you're just you're very comfortable doing it, but you just don't know how.
I like to read on the bus. You can't read a book and drive.
It's not recommended.
So I like doing that, and I like to travel and look at the scenery. Shouldn't do that while you're driving either. Right?
No.
All right. Okay. So now, if somebody wants to sign up, because this is such a nice service, if somebody wants to sign up as a volunteer or a paid driver, then who do they contact?
Yeah, so all of the information is on our website. So if you want to be a volunteer driver, you can reach out to our volunteer outreach specialist. Their information is on our website. For paid drivers, all of our application processes on our website. Send that all off to HR. And good luck.
And then are the shifts part-time, full-time, both?
Yes, we have part-time, full-time. We try to be accommodating to various people's schedules and what they need and want to do.
Right. Well, that is something to remember too when people, this guaranteed a ride thing is that the drivers are volunteers.
Yes.
They don't always have to be doing this, so we got to appreciate that. Okay, and again at the end of the program, we will put up a contact page giving you how to connect with Ride Connection. All right. Now, you offer some other services that I'm not at all familiar with. So I'm going to ask you some questions. What is Ride Together?
Yeah, so Ride Together, it's volunteer based, but the difference with this, it's a mileage reimbursement. So it's going to be folks that maybe are already giving these rides, maybe to a neighbor, to a family member, taking them to maybe their medical appointments, grocery stores, what have you. And this gives a chance for the driver to get reimbursed. So you're not scheduling the rides through our service center. It's between the driver and the customer. Those rides are provided. And then at the end of the month, the driver turns in an expense report and gets paid for doing these trips.
So this seems like this would work really well for families or churches or schools. Say somebody wants to take a bus or a group to church, but the driver could actually get reimbursed.
Yeah.
Okay, but then they would still need to go through your training and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yes, we still need to meet those driving requirements, but
Okay. Now, what about the shared vehicle program?
so that's going to be more like the churches, something like that, where it's I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We have so many programs. We're talking about the community shuttles?
No, I'm talking about the shared vehicle.
The shared vehicle, okay.
Okay. Yeah,
All
that's
right,
okay.
I was going in the right
That's all right.
tangent.
Yeah. Like I said, you have a lot of services. Okay.
We do. So, yes, the shared vehicle programs is going to more likely be churches, individuals, agencies, things like that, who are asking to use a vehicle when they're not in use, a ride connection vehicle when they're not in use. So that's primarily going to be on the weekends. Same deal, we provide the driver training, and our buses seat up to 14 people, but you don't need a special license for that.
And then you also have a special thing for veterans.
Yes, and so veterans helping veterans, it's volunteer veteran drivers, and they're doing that door-to-door service, but providing the service to other veterans and their families.
Okay, and they probably have nice exchange, communication, and all that. Okay, now you have a community shuttle.
Yes, we have a community shuttle, so that's a set schedule for going grocery shopping, appointments, other errands, and they just kind of run on a...
So they go to different stores?
Yes.
Or different groups? Okay, like they have a little trolley out in Sandy that does that, or... Okay,
Yeah,
I've
pretty
got
similar.
that. So that's a nice program. And then you offer some TriMet fare relief.
Yes, so the TriMet Fare Relief Program, with this one, it is income-based, and it's available to individuals who are already riding TriMet.
Okay.
They have access to 22.5-hour tickets,
Wow.
and you can request that twice in a year. So after 6 months, you can request it. It's meant to be a short-term solution for folks.
Okay, well, this is wonderful. I'm just amazed at all these services, and I didn't know. The recap on some of this is that the basic things are people can get picked up for rides to appointments, the store, social things. They call 4 days ahead, and then they'll get a couple days notice about their ride and get picked up and by one of your drivers or a cab or somebody. And this is just great, you know. And that you even offer the bus tickets. And so anyway, well, I just want to thank you so much for being our guest on Showcasing Nonprofits. You are another nonprofit that really serves our community. And at the end now, we will show you a page where you can go in and you can copy down the website, the telephone number, and hopefully you can get a hold of them. And maybe this will help somebody you know, somebody in your family, a friend, but hopefully this is going to be a service to you. And thank you so much, Bea. I appreciate it. I know you're busy, so thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so much. This was a great time.